It's final preparations for the Denver Broncos. We'll have a mock draft. We'll go over top 30 visits, and we'll also have Sean Payton, George Payton, and their NFL draft presser. All that and more on the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast starting right about now. Welcome in, everybody, to the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. You caught me sharing the podcast, and I almost have my volume up too loud. So welcome in, everybody. Hope you enjoy, a Saturday night with a special co-host this evening. My name is Keith Brugman. Can't wait for this podcast. Can't wait for the draft. Can't wait to talk to my co-host and have a fantastic podcast. I'll start off with the judge himself, Jody Moncrief. How you doing tonight, Jody?
Doing good. A little less than a week away from the draft. Excited about that. Excited to do this mock draft tonight. Just anxious to see what Denver does next weekend.
Yes, anxious to see. We'll talk about what Sean Payton, George Payton had to talk about as they had their NFL draft presser. We'll be doing a top 30 visit, kind of quick recap, and probably the biggest thing we'll be going over another mock draft for the Denver Broncos. Also going to say hello to my trusty co-host on a Saturday night, typically my only co-host. It's the Rocket Man himself, getting all ready for the draft. Trevor Salzman, welcome in. How you doing, my friend?
Doing well, Keith. Excited to be here and talk draft. And it's something, though. It's like everybody's Christmas. I think I'm not just say everybody's, most people's Christmas that cover football. It's a big night. It's a big, a lot of preparation for this big night, big moment in the NFL. Just thinking of the draft and the evaluation of the draft, like over the years, it's really became like almost a holiday in a lot of ways. And so, looking forward to the draft preparation, and always do, and then looking forward to getting to the draft, 3 full days of coverage. And because after the draft, it's kind of down for a while. So looking forward to our Christmas and with the draft coming up. So,
even Sean Payton, George Payton, they were talking at the presser, kind of jumping in that a little bit early, but they were saying how after it was done, it was like they couldn't get him to leave. It's like they're like, hey, guys, you got to go home. It's like that you put in so much time, so much work into it. You almost want it to go on for like the 12 rounds it used to back in the day. Just you put a ton of work into it, and it's one of the funnest parts of the year. It's one of those times where it's like a complete lottery of what you might be able to add, the talent you'll be able to add, the future you might be able to add to your team, the Denver Broncos. We're excited for what's about to happen. But Trevor came in here before we even got started, man. He's like, hey, Keith, before we do anything, you know what we need to talk about? We need to talk about the Giants and the Bengals. Well, kind of. Trevor, you wanted to talk about something big that happened right before we went live. Why don't we kick it off with that, and then we'll get into a lot more Bronco talk.
Yeah, we haven't seen this player for pick trade like this in a long time. And so I'll just get right into the news. Giants are trading 3-time Pro Bowl defense tackle Dexter Lawrence to the Cincinnati Bengals for the 10th overall pick. Just happened about an hour and a half ago. Before we came on, but big blockbuster trade happening right before the draft. We've talked about it, Kenny and I, exclusively on our mock draft show, that they're going to be trades in the top 10. They're going to be a lot of active teams looking to get in the top 10. The Giants are make the first move into the top 10 from a trades perspective. They certainly have their eye on a couple players. At 5 and 10 gives the Giants now 2 first-round picks in this draft. And honestly, like I had heard a couple days ago that Dexter Lawrence and the Giants are about $10 million off on a new contract per year from a per year standpoint. And so I was like, it's interesting. It's something to monitor going forward. And then you're starting to hear about DJ Reader being on his on a visit to the Giants. DJ Reader plays the same position as Dexter Lawrence, nose tackle. So it's like some of those things start adding up, and now it makes sense. I mean, so I didn't know how the situation got to pan out. Kind of a surprise in a way, but I think interesting news from the Cincinnati Bengals standpoint. Now this is all in. You gotta. I mean, as soon as tomorrow happens, Dexter Lawrence flies over to Cincinnati, takes his physical. You're going to see a big extension alongside that as well. You don't trade for a player like this, give up a first-round pick for a rental. So Dexter Lawrence going to get a big contract. Giants getting an extra first-round pick in the top 10, and Cincinnati all in on this season.
Man, it's going to shake up that – well, it's going to shake up the draft. I don't know if it's shaking up the mock draft yet. I'm seriously doubt we'll have that. Maybe we need to stop the mock draft and actually make that trade if they don't have it in there, as we do that a little bit later, Trevor. I didn't even think about that before we went live. So how crazy is that, man? The couple of picks in the top 10 for the New York Giants now. Dexter Lawrence joins the Cincinnati Bengals. They're beefing up on defense, as you alluded to. Well, now and before we went on the air, Trevor, it's a lot of changes in the AFC, including, even though it's not necessarily the AFC West, maybe we'll be seeing those Bengals down the road. Jody, I don't know how much you took a look at those top 30 visits. I don't know how much you looked into the Sean Payton, George Payton presser. I think we're going to start on the Sean Payton and George Payton presser, though. Sean Payton and George Payton were asked about, the ability to trade up into the first round, and they kind of dismissed that quite quickly, but they did leave up the opportunity of trading up in the second round. That was pretty big. They are targeting, as they say, really looking at those players that are in the 45 to 75 range as they sit at 62. What does that mean to you, man? And what position, who could they be going after at 45? Were you excited about the news? Were you, I don't know, give me your reaction, man.
I was just whatever. I mean, it's all smokescreen, in my opinion. They're not going to tell you what they're going to do. I mean, excuse me, I do buy into, I think they said they had 6 or 7 guys that they are target, that they've narrowed it down to. I do buy that in that range, that there are 6 or 7 guys. If those guys don't pan out, then I could see them probably trading back and trying to acquire more picks. Because like I've said, I think Denver's more they don't have really big needs on this team, so it's drafting for what they feel is probably best player available. They don't have to go after a position.
I understand that, man. I think a lot of Broncos country feel that way, not that we're like, oh boy, we're in big trouble if we don't go out and get a guy at this position. It is interesting that, obviously they're not in love with somebody that they're not going to trade away their entire draft and to get to the first round, but they're leaving it open in order to move around. Of course, I kind of expect that, but Trevor, your thoughts around this, the 45 to 75, the ability to maybe move around in the draft for the Denver Broncos. What are you expecting?
Yeah, I mean, I think they kind of, it's none of the news they said and I talked about, necessarily news, insight, I guess you could say, is surprising to me. I mean, honestly, for them to get in the top, to get in the first round, even the back end of the first round, it's going to cost them a ton to do so. The picks are very valuable and teams are valuing them more and more. And honestly, teams are starting to really to build up for next year's draft class. Talk about picks teams not wanting to trade away next year's draft class. And then we're still early. Teams are starting to hoard those draft picks like they're a gold to teams next year. So it's something to keep an eye out for. But for the Broncos, like I buy into they're not going to be able to trade into the first round. Like that after that whole Jalen Waddle trade happened, there was that's really slimmed down their chances of moving into the top or the back end of the first round, I should say. So I buy that. I do buy that. Like, hey, and George Payton had put it out there. Like we can move up possibly in the second round. Like that, the flexibility is still there to do so. We have an extra 4th round pick this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to dip into maybe a 4th rounder at most next year, because they have that extra 4th round comp pick that they're going to get back for JFM, losing JFM this past offseason. So they'll have an additional 4th round pick that they could use to their disposal coming into this year's draft if they choose to move up. But yes, nothing surprised me from what they said. Because again, it's just going to take a lot. But I think the George Payton saying it, the whole 45 to 75 pick range he's kind of giving you a range of, this is a range where we could possibly move up in the draft or slightly move back in the draft. We're picking at 62 right now. So I think George Payton just kind of, just threw everything out there, every possibility out there, and it's best player available, but it's also every scenario should be in play for the Broncos too going forward, realistically.
A lot of evaluation goes in. Like I said, hey, it's not just about the second round. They have evaluated, obviously, the full first round as well. But, looking at those second, third round picks, the meat of the NFL draft and what potential you have there. I understand, we're not going to get into the first round. I understand, potentially trading up and trading back as well. Anything else that really stood out in this presser for you, Trevor? I know that you wanted to hit this topic a little bit as well. I'll leave it open to that.
Sorry, Keith. What did you?
As far as the presser is concerned, anything else that stood out from the Sean Payton and George Payton presser outside of kind of getting a range as far as maybe where we could be in the draft? We might be able to move up in the draft. We might be able to kind of push back as well. Any other insights that you got from this particular draft or this particular presser? So
Sean Payton coming out and saying the different tight ends in this draft. You got your inline tight ends and your slot tight ends. That really stood out to me when this presser, because I agree with him. There's different types of tight ends in this class, and there's groups of them. Your inline guys, your big body guys, they can block, but can have some pass catching ability downfield, and then you have those possibly elite pass catching tight ends that aren't the greatest blockers in the world, and they give you a little more pass catching to their game. So it depends on what tight end you really want. Like Kenyon Sadiq might be the only guy in this draft that is close to that complete tight end in this class, honestly. And so it just depends on where Denver's looking at. I mean, they've brought in Max Clare for a 30-day visit. I know we're going to get into the 30-day visits here pretty soon. They brought in Eli Stowers. It's is Denver tipping their hand at tight end a little bit with are they wanting that pass catching tight end on this team rather than the blocking tight end? They feel like Adam Troutman's good enough to be on this roster for a couple years and give them enough when it comes from a blocking perspective. So tight end is going to be something where going to be interesting to see where the Broncos tip their hand at in this draft. Are they going to go that vertical tight end, pass catching tight end, or are they going to go the inline blocking tight end route? So Sean Payton's comments on that was very interesting.
And I'll go to Jody on that. I think that brings up the question of at least opinion. Jody, in your opinion, which way do you go with this? If you end up going with a tight end in this draft, are you trying to focus, as I think Trevor alluded to, I think Sean Payton alluded to, and if we start really breaking down these players, you're not going to get an all-in-one tight end in the third, fourth round that's going to go out there and light it up. At least the expectation shouldn't be there for such. That being said, you're going to have to choose whether you have that vertical threat or whether you have that inline blocking type of tight end. Which way would the Denver Broncos, or which way would you push the Denver Broncos as far as that's concerned? Then I probably should hit some of these comments. Didn't realize I kind of forgot about that.
I think I'm looking more of a receiving type tight end. I mean, you've got a bunch of blockers already on this team. Sounds like little Jordan Humphreys may move to tight end, and he's a blocker as well. But I will say they did note that Evan Ingram is going to be a key piece to this offense this year. And so, I mean, they did say that. So I don't know how anyone feels about that, but he did mention that. So I don't know if that's smokescreen or what, but he did say that. So
Jody, you're backpedaling just because of a couple of looks from Trevor already on this whole Evan Ingram thing. You're like, Evan Ingram's going to be a part, and then, maybe.
Well, I've said for a while.
What are your thoughts there, man?
On Evan Ingram? I don't think
on Evan Ingram.
I don't think.
Give me your stance.
I think if you look at him as a whole, I thought he's been Denver's probably best tight end since Julius Thomas. I mean, he's had 50 receptions, almost 500 yards. Was he down on touchdowns? Only one, yeah. But I think he only had like 48% of the snaps on the field. I think you will see that grow this year, especially if Denver moves into this more air raid type offense. So if you can just get him close to 60 catches and he can get another 100, 125 yards, I mean, I'll take that all day. Mm-hmm. He stayed healthy last year, so I think he can be an important piece to this offense. I don't think in my opinion, it's not a pressing need, really.
Trevor, you didn't look like you were buying anything that Jody was relaying, or Sean Payton and George Payton were saying at the presser, and that they're excited about the possibilities in the future of Evan Ingram. You're ready for a good look in this draft, it sounds like, or at least it looked like by the expressions on your face.
Well, I just don't buy that he's going to be such a big part of this offense, and we'll see. I mean, I've heard this many times before, and they're not going to go out and throw Evan Ingram under the bus. Like, he's on the roster still. It'd be different if he was off the roster. Plus, like, we haven't really seen that in the whole Sean Payton era since Russell Wilson. And him and Russell Wilson, completely different situation. But the whole Evan Ingram thing, like, I got to guess for me, I got to believe it and see it before I should say see it before I believe it. That's what I'm trying to say here, because they're going to feed you stuff in a press conference that they want you to know. But again, I mean, in some way, but I want to see it. Like, I don't quite believe that right now. Like, he's going to be such a big part of this offense. We'll see. You just got Jalen Waddle. Like, that's going to take targets away probably a little bit of a way from Evan Ingram too. Like, we'll see how they use Evan Ingram, but I don't completely buy what Sean Payton had said. He's still on the roster, but it's not like they haven't looked and flirted outside of this current tight end room and other areas. David Njoku's name been thrown out there. They're looking at tight ends in the draft, like maybe possible tight ends to replace Eli Stowers. They brought in multiple times for a visit. Max Clare they brought in for a visit. Like, they're also possibly looking for Evan Ingram's replacement. So I don't buy it until I see it next season. And hey, prove me wrong. If I see Evan Ingram going off this next season, then I'll stand by it. But right now it's just hard to believe that when we've come up to this past season and we haven't really seen it.
Well, we might as well break into it, Mac. We've kind of touched on it a couple of times. The top 30 visits, and you were just kind of alluding to, they've kind of poked around as far as the tight end position is concerned. They've certainly poked around as far as the tight end is concerned on the top 30 visits, because Eli Stowers has come in, Max Clare, Justin Jolly, and I'm probably going to absolutely murder this name, but Sebu Torore. It's supposed to be an undrafted free agent, so it's kind of wild that we do a top 30 visit. You also kind of alluded to well, I'm just saying, like, an unknown guy, that
wasn't Camp Loner a top 30 visit last year?
Oh, don't bring it up. Because that doesn't bring up a very good point, but it also brings up the point, at least in my mind, that top 30 visits doesn't necessarily mean draft picks for the Denver Broncos either. I'll go to Jody right now, man. Eli Stowers, Max Clare, Justin Jolly. We'll go on those three, but the only position that actually had four guys come in was tight end. So they're certainly poking around. What do you take of those visits?
I mean, I think they're looking at tight end. I don't think that that's a must at your first pick. That's just my opinion. But if you look long term, what do you really have after Evan Ingram? I mean, you're back to 2 years ago with Adam Troutman and Nate Atkins and Lucas Kroll. You don't really have, so you got 3 blocking tight ends on here. I mean, it was all fluff when everyone wanted to say that Lucas Kroll was the preseason standout or whatever. He has done nothing in 2 years, so he couldn't even dress at the end of the year. So I agree that at some point I mean, if Evan Ingram has a great season, then you're gonna have to make a decision. Do you bring him back? What do you do? But you gotta have somebody in the wings because you don't have a receiving threat there.
Again, I'll go to Trevor. Top 3 names were Eli Stowers, Max Clare, and Justin Jolly that were brought in on a top 30 visit. Give me your reaction, man. What does that mean? And could it mean the Denver Broncos are leaning any particular way when it comes to that number 62 overall pick?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it points to a certain direction. I think they're looking. I mean, they've looked offensive line like Pregnon. They've looked at different positions. I'm with you, Keith. Like the top 30 visits, like they don't point your hand or tip your hand. I think at any point. I mean, it's just think teams try to use that as trying to get some more clarity, bring the players in, see what the player is, the makeup, the personality, get a little bit more deeper of analysis on the player. And so for me, I don't buy into that. I don't think it's like points the direction. We're going to take a tight end at 62, but I will say this. I will make a bold prediction right now. If the Broncos take a tight end at 62, it does not look good for Evan Ingram going forward. Because Stowers basically is Evan Ingram, younger and more athletic. You tell me you're going to carry Evan Ingram on this roster, and that makes sense going into next season. Like, I mean, maybe they do, but I just like I think if they take 62 at 62, if they take a tight end, we could possibly see Evan Ingram gone. And same thing at safety. Brandon Jones could be out the door too before the season even starts. You take a safety and he comes in and wins the job. Brandon Jones could be out the door. Like there's so many positions in this draft where it could tip the Broncos' hand and like moving off from some veterans. And so I think they got to look at tight end. You got to continue to look at tight end until you have found one. And right now, and it's hard to find them. Don't get me wrong. Name tight ends in the NFL, star tight ends. They're very select few of them in the NFL and just in general. So I think that they're definitely looking. We'll see how high they want to take one. I think all depends upon how much the board like falls in the direction and who's there at 62.
All right, man. I'm going to hit the rewind button, get back to a couple of these comments. I said I was going to do that earlier, and then just like, hey, never mind. I'm not going to do it at all. I want to say aloha to Mr. Patrick Wiltsey. Aloha, boys. He's saying coming in on Facebook. Good to see you, Patrick. Can't wait to be experiencing the draft with you. We'll be doing a mock draft here in just a little bit. But, yeah, Patrick's going to be part of the giveaways during our Pick Is In mock draft or Pick Is In draft show. We'll be doing one more mock draft show, but Pick Is In draft show, that'll be right up around the corner as well. We also have a comment coming in. Brandon Allen is coming in and saying Dexter Lawrence has failed his physical. I haven't gotten any updates. In fact, Trevor had to update me on the fact that Dexter Lawrence was no longer a.
Well, he doesn't even fly to Cincy till tomorrow.
He flies there tomorrow, so there might be some. Not saying Brandon, it's you, but there might be some other media outlets that are reporting false information. So it's that kind of season though. So
clickbait.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to hopefully him passing his physical. We want the best for everybody. Mark Calderio coming in saying, "Good evening, channel, and what is up in Denver country, Broncos country over here?" Mark Calderio, good to see you over here on Facebook, man. Just trying to get really prepped up for this draft, man. It's been so fun trying to go through all these different positions. Here on the Rocky Mountain Sports Network, we will have the Pick Is In draft show for 3 continuous days of, absolutely second minute up to the hour, wall-to-wall coverage of everything that's going on in the NFL draft. Can't wait for that, man. We broke ours out into different position groups, man, and this has been fun, really diving into some of these guys. I think it's going to help out with our mock draft that we're going to be doing here in a second as well. One other thing that I would bring up, though, man, Trevor, I know that you're saying, hey, top 30, not that big of a deal. Don't put a whole lot of credit into it when it comes to maybe selecting somebody for the Denver Broncos. At the same time, when I start looking at tight ends being heavy, I also see that the defensive linemen that have come in have been pretty heavy. And I know that you don't put a whole lot into it, but you got to be a little bit happy about that, Trevor. Looks like they're looking deep into the defensive linemen, whether it be Caden McDonald, Nick Barrett, or Chris McClellan, all in on visits. what do you say about the defensive line attention that the Denver Broncos are given pre-draft?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for upgrading the trenches. I was pretty mad last year when the Broncos didn't take advantage of having a good defensive line class. I think this year's it's weaker than it was last year. I will say that. Like, I don't want to sit here and say, oh, that it's a bad class. No, it's just not as deep as it was a year ago. That's the words I'm trying to use here. I love Caden McDonald. I just don't think he's going to fall that far. He's my number one defensive lineman in this class. Caleb Banks could definitely be there on the board, though, for Denver at 62. A lot of these guys can. Christian Miller, Chris McClellan, a lot of these guys are definitely possibilities for Denver at 62 if they are really in love with one of those guys. And I mean, you've got to always look at possibly upgrading defensive line, offensive line. That's always got to be your trenches. You've always got to stay ahead of the game. You can't fall too far behind. And George Payton has said it multiple times. I mean, we're always looking for big guys and guys up front. So I think that's part of the Broncos mindset. I don't think they took advantage of it last year enough from a good, a deep defensive line class. We'll see if they do that this year. But I will say after day 2, the talent drop off is there definitely with your defensive linemen in this class. I mean, you have your different tiers, in my opinion. And so, pick and choose carefully, I would say, with this defensive line class.
It'll be interesting. Maybe this top 30 class or top 30 visits will pan out differently for the Denver Broncos than they've done in the past. Before, it was almost a death sentence to be on the top 30 because it seemed like the Denver Broncos pretty much avoided anybody that landed on that top 30 list. This year, some pretty nice names, and I'm excited. Only one running back brought in. I won't even mention him right now, but it's a guy that I've been kind of looking at, and I think has a potential of maybe being a late round pick for the Denver Broncos if you want to go that direction as well. But gentlemen, it has been a lot of discovery. It has been a lot of fun. We're going to get ready for a mock draft here right around the corner, unless you guys have anything else you want to add about top 30 visits or what else did we have on the agenda? Or Sean Payton's and George Payton's presser, or if you want to talk any more about Dexter Lawrence, we can do that as well. If not, I'm going to get my sponsorship break. Got anything for us, Jody, before we break into it?
Nah, I'll just add one thing. I mean, after the Buffalo game probably didn't leave a good taste in Denver's mouth on the D-line. I mean, James Cook ran all over you. Josh Allen ran all over you. So, I mean, we've seen that for 2 years with Buffalo, getting ran all over. I mean, and I'll probably say Buffalo is probably a top 2 or 3 rushing team in the NFL, but still, if you're going to consider yourself the best defense in football, you can't allow that. So
Jody's tipping his hat on which way he wants to go in this draft, I feel.
I think I've already tipped mine. Middle linebacker for me is the position, but I almost feel like that's kind of might even be off the table because I feel like they're really sold on Jonah Else is going to be, and then Jonah Else is going to be the guy there. From some stuff I've read, it sounds like he is going to be that they are really hoping that pans out, and he is your number 3, possibly like Stranad was last year, getting playing time. So,
yeah, it was interesting. Oh, go ahead, man.
No, I was just going to say, be interesting to see how that pans out, and if you're not taking a linebacker in the first couple rounds of your picks, I mean, then that ought to tell you that you're pretty sold that Ellis can make this transition pretty easy.
That's true. We'll be thinking about that come draft night.
Guess that or Drew Sanders.
Drew Sanders. So watch out for Drew Sanders. Anything, Trevor, before we move into our mock draft?
I will say, be careful what you read into when it comes to position of need. Because we had this discussion a year ago, and did anybody have the Broncos taking Jahadae Barron in the first round? No. No. The answer is no. And if you did, I'd call you a liar. No one had them taking Jahadae Barron last year, and we always talked about, well, they need a running back. They need tight end. They got to take somebody in the first round. I would just be careful with these different mock draft scenarios that we run. And I think it's true for the Broncos again this year. It's truly best player available at whatever position it is. I mean, within reason, of course. And that's like safety. It could be a cornerback. It could be anywhere. Like I don't know that I buy them taking a linebacker that's high in the draft. They haven't done it since Drew Sanders. I don't know if I buy that. Tight end, same thing. Like they haven't done it since Greg Dulcich. I just don't know that I'm fully into that. Like, oh yeah, they're going to take a position of need. I think that they're going to take best player available and then possibly trade back to get more draft capital. So just be careful, Bronco fans, with needs and like projecting this, because they went a completely different direction last year and no one had them taking cornerback in the first round when they did. A lot of people had them taking running back and so on and so forth. So that's something that I just wanted to acknowledge before we get into the draft.
Rightfully so, man. Especially now where the Denver Broncos sit, they're not in dire need for a position, and they have been in the past, and they've straight up said, nope, we feel better about this player over our position of need, and drafted a player over that position of need. Like I said, Jahdae Barron is I think a fantastic example of that, where they felt better about the player than what maybe in the train station as far as position and need, because Sean Payton doesn't want anybody getting on that train if you really can avoid it. One thing I want to get on is talking about our sponsor, man. If you've enjoyed what we've done over the last, I was trying to think, 4 or 5 years now with the Denver Bronco Roundup and the podcast that we put out, thank also Morgan Trinkets. They're our amazing sponsor. Morgan Trinkets is your headquarters for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold at wholesale prices. They've been doing it for over 35 years. They're mainly in northern Colorado. They're also in southern Wyoming. They do fantastic shows. I need to get an update from Miss Pearl on her next show. Last one, they were just doing one in Greeley on April 11th. Amazing 2-day shows. By the way, she's been blowing out silver at amazing prices. So Morgan Trinkets is your place to go when it comes to silver, as well as that Southwest Jewelry and Pottery and Estate Gold. Right now, check her out on eBay. Pearl Heat over on eBay. Best way to get a hold of her there. And then Prada Corgis at AOL.com. That's Prada Corgis at AOL.com. Another great way that you can just reach out, say, hey, what do you got? And Pearl will be right there giving you all the goods at the best prices around. Check out Morgan Trinkets. They've been an amazing sponsor. Can't wait for them to be sponsoring our Pick Us In Draft show that we'll have coming up right around just days away. I can't believe it. It's just days away, gentlemen. Just days away. But until then, I guess we're doing mock drafts, man. And I can't wait to do this mock draft. We've been really, really, drilling in and researching all these players. I feel more prepared each time we do one of these. So the mock draft is coming up, well, right about now. Now, will say this is going to flip around. It's going to look weird for a second. I'll get everything settled as quickly as possible. I am better than Kenny Kirkpatrick. And by the way, speaking of defensive linemen, because we were just talking about that in top 30 visits, I got to say, for Kenny Kirkpatrick's sake, Uar Bernard came in on a top 30 visit as well for the Denver Broncos defensive lineman. Kenny has been all over Uar Bernard, the Nigerian nightmare, as he's calling him, but we'll have to have a different nickname since the Chiefs had one back in the day. But just another I guess just another piece that you can put in the puzzle of the Denver Broncos and maybe where they're focusing when it comes to the draft, or giving you a smokescreen. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to put this up. This is going to look really, really crazy. I'm going to get us all situated how Trevor likes us. See if I can figure that out. And then I'm going to get over here to the draft. And now Trevor is going to be really talking probably more than me, because he's going to see all the comments and knowing where we're going. And I'm just going to be a draft board expert. So, in fact, I could probably even be off the screen if it wasn't for, I don't know, for whatever reason. You're going to see my face. We'll go through this. All right, gentlemen. I think we got it all set up. We have the Denver Broncos set up. You guys have been using Mock Draft Hero. Trevor, talk about it, why you like it, what possibilities we'll have, and I guess we'll be hitting the pause button pretty soon here too.
Yeah. So we've been using Mock Draft Hero. It's just different simulators. I mean, we've been playing around with, but you can see the big board is Mock Draft database, which is something I've used as well in the past. It's part of my evaluation through the draft, just running through different scenarios. And keep in mind, teams do this as well. So it's not like it's that we're the only ones that do it out here. Teams will use this tool a really nice tool to kind of get your draft knowledge and get a kind of a taste of different scenarios of what could happen. So you're not kind of, overly shocked come draft night. So draft night, you never know what's going to happen. Of course, it's hard to predict, but this gives you a pretty good understanding of what could happen in different scenarios that it throws out at you. So love using this. We've used it all draft season so far. I think we've done, eight mock drafts so far, and about to do one tomorrow night again. So looking forward to getting our final one in tomorrow night. But a little bit about Draft Hero and what they provide from a simulator standpoint.
Trevor, as I get ready to start this, I'm actually might pause it right off the bat, make that trade. Can you make sure you have all the details of the trade so I know it exactly, and we can put it in here, and we'll just force the trade if nothing else for the Giants and the Bengals. Yeah,
it's just 10 straight up for Lawrence.
There's nothing else. I like I said, I hadn't looked into it. I didn't know if it was like some sixth round swap or something like that. I just wanted to make sure. So all right, I think I'll have to start this before we can actually be able to pause this. So I'm going to start this. This will get all queued up in just a few seconds, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'll pause it right here. Fernando Mendoza already traded in there, or already selected by the Raiders, but we'll go ahead and we'll get in here.
Oh, they do have it. They do have it in there.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah, we don't even got to do anything.
Good Lord. Lordy. All right. Well, this will make it easy on us. I was like, okay, what's going on here? All right. Let's just kick it off. Fernando Mendoza, obviously, number one. I like that at least it's gotten us that far. David Bailey, and then Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles to the Titans.
All realistic, too. That's the thing. This is all realistic stuff. Scenarios that could definitely happen.
Yeah. Look at Kenny jumping up and down as Mansour Delane goes to the Giants at number 5. I think he'd be pretty happy right there. So
Caleb Downs has also been heavily rumored to the Giants. 2 mock draft experts the other day dropped their final mock draft, and they had Caleb Downs to 5 of the Giants. So
figured if we just pause it right here, just go over the entire Mendoza.
What's not realistic is I don't think Love is falling this far.
Yeah, you're probably right, but it does get into like weird territory with some of these. Yeah, but I agree. It's a weird draft. I think this is supposedly going to be one of the most hectic traded drafts in recent history. Do you agree with that, Jody? Do you think because of the way this draft is not, I got to go ahead and pick this guy because if not, I'm going to get laughed at in the next, 3 to 5 over the next 3 to 5 years. Do you think we could see a lot more trades happening in this draft?
Oh, I think there'll be trades, but I don't think you're going to see as much as what I think people are saying, just because I don't think a lot of people want to tap into next year's draft assets because next year's class is supposed to be that much better than this year's.
Especially if you think you're going to be bad again this year. David Bailey, though, to the Jets. Arvell Reese goes number 3. Sonny Styles to the Titans. We already talked about it. Delane to the New York Giants. Offensive tackle goes to the Cleveland Browns and CeCe Maligoa. And I think that would be fantastic if the Browns did that, but I don't expect it. Carnell Tate to the Commanders. Ruben Bain to the Saints. Kendrick Falk over to the Chiefs, and that number 10 pick ends up being Mekhi Lemon for the Giants. So I'm just going to let this run, guys. I can't recap everybody, but follow along at home if you're watching. Anything
I don't. Sorry, go ahead, Keith. Sorry.
No, go ahead, man.
No, I was just gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if Love did fall a little bit in this draft class. Like I think you've seen a lot of edges go in the top 10, but we have to remember it's premium positions, and so I mean, does he drop all the way 18 to Minnesota? I'm not sure, but I could see a scenario where he drops out of the top 10. Honestly,
I could see it too. I mean, there's going to be places and positions for him, and if he isn't taken, then he could fall a little bit. But I could also see him being like literally the number 2 pick at the same time, especially if there's any trades involved. So it's wild where we could possibly place Jeremiah Love. I guess just going through that, like you said, Jeremiah Love ends up going overall number 18 to the Vikings in this particular draft. Kenyon Sadiq going to who was that going to?
Carolina
Panthers. Yeah, Carolina
and
Panthers.
I've seen that a lot too, and we've had that in our mock drafts is Sadiq to the Panthers, so that's something to watch too going forward.
Jody, I'll ask you really quick as we're kind of coming up on the end of first round. How likely do you think it is that there's a trade to come back into the end of the first round to pick up a player, and does it have to be like a Ty Simpson that's fallen that far within this draft?
Probably not likely. I mean, I think he's going to – I've said for a while I think the Jets take him with their first round pick.
Hey, Keith. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. But either way, I mean – whether they get him at 16 or they get him at 31, I think that's their second. They're looking quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they like him enough in the mock draft hero enough to pick him here at the top of the first.
But what I wonder is, I mean, I'm hearing like 8-9 quarterbacks could go in the first round next year. So if you're the Jets, why not just wait till next year? You're probably gonna be bad again. Why not actually get a quarterback that's projected really as a true first round pick?
Yeah, but you're getting I guess if I was to play devil's advocate, and I'll let Trevor jump in here, you're going to be getting the second best quarterback in this draft. How does that compare to the 4th or 5th that happens to be the case in next year? And we saw in this last year, I mean, there was a lot of people that had quarterbacks rated very highly at the very beginning of this year that completely fell out and off the radar by the end of this year and into the draft, to where now we're just really talking about potentially only 2 guys going in the first round. So I know that it's hot and heavy for next year, but what they say, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the hand. I don't know, something in the bird and the bush and the hand and the feather. I don't know. Like that. Trevor.
Yeah, but if you go off of that though, look at where does Ty Simpson? Okay, Bo Nix is what, the 6th quarterback taken, and I'm gonna say that he's probably much better than Ty Simpson.
I agree.
So I mean, I guess that would be against what you're saying, but that would just be me. And plus, they already have a established quarterback. I mean, whatever you think of Geno Smith, but he can carry you through a year at least. So at least you're not going to have just garbage, trash quarterback play.
Talk to the Raiders last year. Trevor, go ahead.
No, guys, I'm just going to get a couple comments so we don't get too far behind. We got TW coming in here. Say, what's good, fellas? What's good, TW? Happy to have you in here, Mr. Michael Ronquillo. Michael, I'm going to assume this is what starts. I cannot see it. That's why I was looking to the side. Keith will confirm for me possibly. But if it is what starts, my friend, thank you very much for coming into the show. We really appreciate you. TW saying Love ain't dropping out of the top 5, sadly. It's possible. I don't think he drops past the Commanders. I think the Commanders at 7 could definitely be in play. They haven't done much at running back. Michael said just got done watching WWE WrestleMania. And then TW coming in said, yeah, Jets ain't getting Ty. I bet they go for pure talent in this coming draft. Don't matter the position. I will say, though, Aaron Glenn's on the hot seat. So, there's some pressure for the Jets to get this thing right and get this thing right on the right path. This last year was a disaster there with Aaron Glenn. He might be out the door in year 2 if this thing don't start turning around.
I just wanted to say Eli Stowers we saw go off the board at 43. I just bring that up because we were talking about that 45 to 75 range that the Denver Broncos were looking at. It's how close I guess it could potentially be if they really felt that much in love with Eli Stowers. They would have just barely missed out in this particular mock draft.
Is Stowers both of your guys' definite number 2 tight end?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think that there's a lot of different ways you could end up going. So,
I was going to say, Keith, if did you want to pause it to see if we wanted to make a trade up, possibly in that 45,
Sure.
75 range? I don't know, just because like George Payton threw that scenario out there, so I don't know if I want us all to vote on the draft pick and the trade if we would make one. We're like, this is a war room, pretty much. We're the war room.
Well, we got about 10 picks here right now. We'd be trading up potentially 10 picks with the Steelers, and then we have the Eagles. We obviously aren't trading with the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Jaguars, we have the Bears, we have the 49ers, we have the Texans, we have the Bears again, and we have the Rams in front of us. Any of those look like potential trade candidates to any of you that you want to take a look at? I'll actually defer to Jody first, since we brought this whole topic up.
I guess for me, what player are you looking at? I think
Right now we have Jadarian Price.
I think Jacob Rodriguez is probably the only one that I'm trading up to get.
And would you be willing to take a look at one of these picks at all in order to do so, or are you out on that idea? Do you want to let the board fall?
I'm just kind of looking at needs. I don't really. You might try to trade with Philly because I think they need to replace the linebacker they lost. Nolan Smith. If that's the linebacker you guys are in love with, I mean, I think he would fit well here.
I'm going to defer a little bit to Trevor and kind of go back and forth. And Trevor, you see the comments if anything's coming in. I cannot see that right now, so that as well. Take that all into consideration. What do you think about a trade, potentially Philadelphia, potentially Jacob Rodriguez, as Jody has alluded to here?
Yes, I'm going to get to a couple comments first before I answer that, Keith. Michael has came in with stars. Michael, thank you for the stars as well. Really appreciate it. Hope you're having a good night, my friend. Kenny coming in saying, good evening, fellas. The fourth horseman is here. Busy night. I'll watch later on. And then Kenny thanking Michael for the stars. And Michael says, Tennessee Titans for running back love from Notre Dame. That's what I heard from NFL Network insiders. Definitely a possibility, Michael. They're also looking at Sonny Styles and or possibly an edge rusher, depending on what the Jets do it to. And if David Bailey and Arvell Reese make it to 4, they're running that car up to the podium, probably taking edge. That's where my thought process is, at least for the Titans. Phil McLaughlin coming in here. Phil, again, thank you for the stars. If you had sent them, my friend, good evening. Keith, Rocketman, and Judge. The draft will be faster this year since they cut down time between picks. 100 stars. Thank you, Mr. Phil McLaughlin. Appreciate the 100 stars. Appreciate all the support as always, and looking forward to having you, Michael, and everybody in the chat with us throughout the draft as well. So
awesome, buddy. Thoughts on this potential trade?
Yeah, I mean, I think like Michael Ronquillo said in the chat, Jacob Rodriguez would be one of those names that I would look at. I think it all would be the price, I think, to move up for that guy because it's going to cost you some picks. What are we, 53 right now, or are you at 54?
We are at number 54. It would be for Philadelphia.
Okay.
Broncos receive the 54 pick. They would want number 62, and they'd want our number 111 in round 4.
Would you guys be, since there's 2 fourth-round picks, are you guys, this is my next question, throw it to you guys. Would you be comfortable giving up one of those fourths for Rodriguez? I'm sure that would be the pick I would say, unless the Steelers ended up taking him.
Yeah, that's the downside. We could obviously let this go at least one more and see if we could pause it, but this kind of gives us the idea and the potential.
Mm-hmm.
Not that this is my I guess position group that I'm really evaluating, but from what I've seen of Jacob Rodriguez, he's worth it, in my opinion. I don't know how Jody feels, but I also wouldn't want to barely miss out on the opportunity to get him.
Jody, how do you feel?
Yeah, I'd be for him. I've kind of said for a while that this is the position I'm looking at for our first pick. So, and he's probably the best. He is the best middle linebacker that's still available.
TW throwing some feedback. I'm staying put at 62. TW must not be a big fan of Jacob Rodriguez. I'm
not.
I am a fan up to a degree. Like the picks you're giving up, I do think having an extra fourth does help. But keeping this in mind, you trade up in the second round for Rodriguez, you're probably not trading up in the third now. So you're going to be waiting until the fourth to pick again. So just kind of weighing everything.
Well, which I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't know how everyone else feels. He would be the one guy that I would trade up for. If not, how close do you think Jacob Rodriguez is to like Galladay or Josiah Trotter? Those would be the two other guys that I would compare him to.
Mm-hmm. And I think he's in a tier by himself. Like with those other guys, like with Anthony Hill and those other guys, the tier and up, I should say.
You know, Anthony Hill, he's skyrocketed up the board, and he's probably out of reach now for us. So he may be like this. He may be the second linebacker off the. He may even be the first. Well, second probably because Sonny Styles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes. Jacob Rodriguez is ranked 45th overall as we currently sit. Jake Galladay, 58th, and 63 for Josiah Trotter when it comes to the big board on the mock draft hero. Either way, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let this resume for one more pick to see if we're doing this all for naught, because if the Steelers pick him, then we're going a different direction. So I'll go ahead and I'll hit that, gentlemen, and then we'll see what happens here.
Okay.
Resume.
We have conflicting not reports, but feedback in the chat. Phil said, "No way, I'm trading up," and then TW said, "I'm sticking at 62 and taking Trotter." Josiah Trotter.
Now it's hindsight, anyways. But where Anthony Hill went, I'm probably, if you're going to trade up, I would have just traded up a few more spots and taken him, because I think he probably is the second best linebacker, and I probably even put him ahead of CJ Allen now.
Is that your position group that you've been researching there? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it, man.
He's a stud.
Love it. Love the inside information. Well, Garrett Nussmeier ended up going to the Steelers. I don't know if that I don't know which way the comments are leaning, which way we're all leaning, if we're doing this trade or not. It feels like it's a 50-50, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this trade basically is how important is that fourth round pick to you? Really comes down to.
Trevor, how much do you value this additional fourth round pick?
And what's our other fourth round pick? Where is that at?
116 or something like that, I want to say.
I mean, it's within 5 spots, so
111 and 108. And I think
mean,
they were asking for the 111 in this trade when we were talking to the Eagles earlier. So
I just think that Rodriguez, like that's that second tier of linebackers that, like, he's the last one on this board, in my opinion. So if you miss out on him, you're dropping a tier at linebacker, in my opinion. So like Rodriguez, you know, he would come in right away, and if something happens to Singleton or not, at least you have some insurance there. A young linebacker that Sean Payton's always talked about. Hey, want to get more turnovers? He creates a lot of turnovers. So I think you at least got to look at it if the board fell like this. I think Rodriguez would absolutely be in play for Denver if it came to this point.
Tight ends, you have Max Clare, Oscar Delp, Sam Rouse, Justin Jolly, all still available. Just to try to get into perspective of where we might be if for some reason Jacob Rodriguez doesn't end up being that piece. Jadarian Price, Mike Washington Jr., Jonah Coleman when it comes to the running backs, but I think we're looking more third round when it comes to at least a couple of those guys. So,
my vote is if would make this move. I've said for a while that it's probably the one position that you have no depth behind it at all. That I mean, how confident can you be if one of your starters goes down that Jonah Ellis is? We have no idea what that's going to be. We have no idea what Drew Sanders, if he can even stay healthy. So you're relying on Lavelle Bailey, or what was the linebacker they kept for special teams? Him. I mean, is that who you really want on the field? I mean, this guy was what, fourth or fifth in the Heisman?
Sternad being pushed into a starting role for the first time as well. How does he react? There's a lot of questions. I say we do it, man. We're going to go ahead and do it on this one, Trevor.
Okay.
We're going to make this trade. We're not going to do a lot of these, but we'll go ahead and we'll accept this trade. And then with the Denver Broncos on the clock, I would imagine, now we get to go ahead and select Jacob Rodriguez. Oh, I got to.
No, you're good. You just got to draft him. You just hit draft.
Oh.
Like on the green button on the side.
The green button on this side.
It just says like draft.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I got you. I'm also colorblind, my friend, so green button doesn't help me at all. All right. So Jacob Rodriguez is that pick, and we'll go ahead and we'll let that run. Chat, Posse, I'd love to get your thoughts on that. I know not everyone was on board. I love the fact that it was the 111, not the 108, so we still do have our earlier fourth-round pick. We'll be waiting a while before we get back on the clock, though, but I can't wait to get on it. Posse, if you're out there, let me know. Trevor, I want to know your thoughts. You seem like the one that was maybe a little bit more up in the air on this one. Obviously, Jody said to go ahead and pull that trigger.
Yeah, I mean, the only downside is you probably lose flexibility in trading up into the third round. But I think Jacob Rodriguez fallen that far. Like I mentioned, he's in that tier 2 of linebackers for me, and then after that, there's a drop off. So I agree, you need more depth there. I think he buys that. Now, do I think Jacob Rodriguez will be a Bronco? I don't know, because honestly, the Broncos, it seems like when we throw different positions of need out there, they go and like best player available, like they take safety or they'll take an offensive lineman or something like that. So, but I'd be curious to see if Jacob Rodriguez is in that pool of players that George Payton was talking about, of 5-6 players that they're eyeing around 62 or possibly higher. I'd be curious if Jacob Rodriguez would be one of those guys for the Broncos.
Yeah.
Go
ahead, my friend.
Is Jacob Rodriguez in the same category or the same tier as Anthony Hill Jr. for you?
Yeah, I think they're 1A, 1B kind of thing for me. Sonny Styles is in his tier by himself, and then a little bit of drop off, and it's Hill and it's Rodriguez.
Is CJ Allen? Where is CJ Allen?
CJ Allen's lower for me. I like Rodriguez, and I like Anthony Hill Jr. higher than CJ Allen, in my opinion. Like fourth, if I had to.
That's kind of where he was a solid 2 for me, but he's moving down the list. CJ Allen.
Yeah.
108. We're back on the board, gentlemen. Just like that. So, boy, maybe we'll. Unless anybody in the chat just is absolutely in love with somebody, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to defer to our guest our guest host, I should say, on the Denver Bronco Roundup on a Saturday night. Jody, any place in particular you want to take a look at as we sit here at the number 108 pick?
Let's look at offensive line here.
Some offensive linemen. Interior offensive lineman or offensive tackle? I imagine you're looking probably interior.
Interior.
Any names that you're looking for, my friend? I don't know how well you can see that, but
I was looking for the lineman from Oregon, but he's already went off the board. Pregnon. Let's see what's available at tight end.
All right, give me just a second. We'll go with tight end. We'll get rid of that interior offensive lineman. We have Sam Roush. We have Justin Jolly. Your good friend Eli Raridon is also there, but maybe a little bit early for him.
What's a running back? I'm not really. So, I guess you could take one.
I think this was a guy.
Trevor's man crush, Emmett Johnson.
That's what I was just gonna say. Emmett Johnson and Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, both out of Penn State, still on the board as well. So,
I don't know. Just running back for me, I think I got to give. RJ Harvey. I got to give him all the chances in the world to, just because he was a second-round pick last year, all the chances to prove that he is or is not the guy. I just got to give that one more chance.
Let me get the comments really quick, Keith, so we don't get too far behind. Kenny says, Who do you take? Who did you take? I missed first pick. Kenny, we ended up trading up to get Jacob Rodriguez from 62 up to Philly's pick. What pick was that, Keith?
That was 54.
54. Okay, and we give up an extra 4th round pick, 111. Kenny, and Kenny says Emmett Johnson, bang bang. Then TW says Katron Allen would also be nice here, and Katron Allen probably a nice early day 3 pick, I'd say. Kenny said I'm liking Johnson more and more. Funny, Kenny. Have you heard that one before? No, I'm just kidding. Patrick Willis says Singleton would be fun.
Let's see what safety is. What's on the board at safety?
That's where we're at right now. We have Zakee Wheatley, Jalen Kilgore, and VJ Payne kind of leading it off there.
I'll default to whatever you guys want to do. I'm probably
go over to Trevor. I need to get a weapon
here. I'd like to get a weapon for Knicks.
Yeah, what's best player available? I'll just go all positions really quick if you wouldn't mind.
All positions if we're going there.
Malik Muhammad, yeah.
Cornerback out of Texas. Of course, we got the safety we just talked about in Zakee Wheatley, as well as Jelon Kilgore. Cornerback Chandler Rivers as well. Offensive tackle Markel Bell, Jacoby Lane, Sam Roush, Emmett Johnson, LT Overton, and Caleb Proctor, defensive lineman. It rounds out kind of the top 10 there, 11.
I like Wheatley quite a bit, actually. I mean, he's got a lot of size, 6'3", 203, safety, young safety that you can throw into the mix there, and some length. He got some size to him, which what Denver likes. They like those safeties with size. I like Wheatley here. I like Emmett Johnson. I've always been an Emmett Johnson guy, but I can certainly understand why some may not want to take running back this early. But safety, cornerbacks, I think got to be on the board. Tight end, I would wait on tight end a little bit if I'm being honest. But if Max Clare fell this far, I would definitely jump all over that. But yeah, for me, like Zakee Wheatley would be probably my favorite here.
Any feedback there, Jody, before we
I'm good with that because it's another position. Are you good with Devon Keys or JL Skinner being a true starter if one of your safeties go down?
That's fair. All right. I'll go ahead and I'll take it, man. One of the biggest safeties actually in the class. It's supposed to be rated this high, like you said, 6'3", 203. Not the small safety that you see roaming in that backfield. So there you go. We passed on that running back. I can't believe that, Trevor, you passed on Emmett Johnson. That surprises me a ton. So
yeah, don't get me wrong, it's hard. That's the part of the whole thing of like trading up in this draft is you lose that 4th round pick and that value early day 3. So something to monitor. Like if Denver trades back, they'll get more day 3 picks and get more picks to play with. But since we moved up, that was the price we had to pay too. So
what is going on over here? Why is it looking like this? Do you see what I'm going on?
Looks like it's shortening so the draft's not as long. There you go.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. I think it's simming the picks. That's why it's doing that.
Every time I try to scroll down, I can't catch up. So
the names to the right side are going off your board. So it's taking picks from other teams. And that's why.
Let me get to the bottom.
Keith's making me dizzy.
don't look at the screen, anybody.
I'll look at the chat. We got Phil coming in here, said Kilgore, the other safety that was on the board, and then Michael Ronquillo is with me on Emmett Johnson. I think you got to prioritize safety at some point. I have a worry that day 3 safety, you're going to miss your opportunity, especially in the scenario where we just did, where we traded up for Rodriguez there.
Well, if I didn't touch it, it fixed itself. So
okay.
I'm glad that don't need to make anybody sick after this from earlier. We shouldn't have to wait too long. 170 right up around the corner, gentlemen. So go ahead and close that up, and then we'll be right there. Actually, I see us. There we are. I had to hit resume, though. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, how far, like tight end wise, how far do you think? Like, is this kind of the range where we start seeing maybe like taking a realistic chance at tight end? like here in the 5th round?
That's the
What's
downside.
available at tight end now?
Yeah, exactly. What's available is the biggest question. Because we're here. Here we are. We're at pick number 170. So might as well look at tight end. And this is what I was a little bit worried about. There's definitely tiers. So now you're looking at Joe Royer, Nate Bork. I mean, who else?
Sure.
Yeah. Anybody have tight ends as their grouping? Because there's a whole lot of names I'm not as nearly as familiar with.
See, now you're all into blocking tight ends now. Look,
yeah, 247, 245, 253. These are some big boys. 261. So yeah, that's kind of where we're sitting as far as the tight ends. All the big names that everybody knew are kind of gone off the.
What's at running back?
Let's take a look at running back.
Payton Allen's still there. That's nice.
Yeah, that might be the best name still left up there, and yeah, there's a pretty. Go ahead.
I like Bo Stevens too, the inside offensive lineman from Iowa. That's another name to keep an eye on.
If you want a big running back, Allen from Clemson. I mean, he's 6'3", 2. I mean, he's Mike Washington size.
Mm-hmm.
Anything at corner possibly too, Keith?
Ooh, we're asking for a lot. Have a good corner sitting this late, my friend. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, it's getting thin.
TJ Hall out of Iowa, I kind of like a little bit.
Jalen Husky down the board, I like too. I will say too, tight end to keep in mind, Nate Borkershire from Texas A&M. The Broncos have had interest in him too, so it's a name down the board. Big tight end, inline tight end, but it definitely has some pass catching traits that you could like as well. But if Denver pivots to like a day 3 pick for a tight end, it could be a name to keep an eye on too.
What's on the D line?
Let's take a look at that defensive line. Tyler, I need to get better at names. Oniadin, Albert Regis, Wesley Williams, Landon Robinson out of Navy.
All smaller guys too.
Yeah.
Not your best, man. I can't believe we're already.
I might even just throw a bone and just take Katron Allen.
Certainly wouldn't mind pick. Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. As far as running backs are concerned, it really is. I mean, the other thing that you need to look at whenever you're doing this is like, where's the fall off? I mean, you can even see it on this board: 140 to all of a sudden 179, 198. The fall is real after this. I mean, if you are going to go running back and you think that he's going to be a difference maker, first day, this is your opportunity. I'm on board with Katron Allen. Been doing my running back research, so we'll go ahead and go that direction.
I mean, Adam Randall, the only reason I would suggest him maybe is just how big he is.
Yeah.
Yep.
His hands aren't the most reliable though. That's a downside. That's why you see him going.
Well, that's why he's a converted wide receiver to running back. So last year he had 168 carries, 814 yards, 4.8. He did have 10 touchdowns, so he's a kind of a bruiser down in the red zone. Probably be more of a project pick.
I think at this point, that's what you're looking at more anyways, more projects than anything.
Whoever you take at running back, as long as they're running back 3, because that gets Tyler Bidet off this 53 for me.
I will say one mistake we might have made in this draft was not trading back with our 4th round pick. I think we lost quite a bit of value there because Denver doesn't have a 5th. I think we had into the 6th. Early 6th. Yeah. So maybe trading back would have been the better pick here than taking Wheatley. But I certainly like what we've done so far anyway. I still think it's been a very solid draft so far.
Yeah.
Even though we can't address every single need in the draft possibly,
Yeah, this will be This is an interesting one. We didn't do a whole lot of trades. We're coming up, obviously, just on our 7th round picks now as we get in here. So, but trading up, getting that guy, getting the Jacob Rodriguez. If you feel that good about that player, what that future looks like at that position for you, I think it was well within the means to go ahead and make that happen. So.
Mm-hmm.
But that did definitely defined a lot of what you did. Like you said, maybe there's an opportunity. This is the other thing, man. Trading back, you just never know what you're going to have. So it's a big dice roll unless you're just trading back a few picks. But if you're trading back a round, that's tough.
My guy Bobby Jamison Travis just went off the board too. I was like, dang, that would be a nice defensive lineman to develop later in the draft. Big guy too, really good run stuffer.
I do have a question. Are you guys okay with however you say Nick Gargiulo being Gargiulo being your backup on offensive, your backup, interior guard? Or do you think they should bring someone in?
I would try to add some depth in this offensive line. I wouldn't mind if they at least want to go interior offensive lineman or even another developmental tackle possibly in this draft. I wouldn't say necessarily 62, but like 4th round. You have you have 2 4th-round picks. I wouldn't mind at all if you took an interior offensive lineman to have, just because Gargiulo, you don't know what you're going to get. He came off that major injury. Like if you can add more competition. Plus, I mean, this is probably Ben Powers' last season. Pelcheski was probably going to be moved back out to tackle again. So
that's what I was going to say. I would move him there, and he needs to play there.
Yeah. So they should be developing interior offensive line. That's definitely should be on the board for them.
Because as much as he played all right there. There's a reason that Ben Powers came back in, and they're willing to pay all this extra money to keep him in that. I mean, it was obvious that he was better there, and so that's. I'm moving him back out there because he's probably my contingency plan for Mike McGlinchey. So,
I'm going to defer to Jody a little bit because Jody's been the guy who's been really good about getting me his list of guys he wants graphics for the Pick Is In Draft show. I see 2 names on here right off the bat that he's gotten to me as potential late round picks and flyers we could take on. Lorenzo Styles Jr. is sitting in here, and then also a guy that you liked in Robert Spears Jennings. Just bring that up because here we are. Like I said, only 3 picks left. We're all in the 7th round, and a couple of guys that you kind of had your eye on. Any particular one you want to take? Actually, talk about Robert Spears Jennings. What do you like about him?
I like his size. I mean, he's 6'2", 205. He's a big hitter. That's what I like, big hitter. But you kind of already filled that position with your 2nd-round pick.
Yep.
And I don't really need another safety there because I still want to see Devon Key's interest is he intrigues me enough that I want to see what he can do. I mean, he played very little there, but when he was on the field, he made plays. And I want to see where that pans out. So I don't want a whole bunch of competition there. I want to see what Devon, if he can take that next step.
Trevor, anything that really kind of stands out for you? Any particular direction you want to go? I do see that Tyke Sapp, if you're talking about lineage, is a little bit available here as well. But thoughts on this, where we should go?
Yeah, I want to get to Kenny's comment first.
Yeah.
Kenny says, is Kalen Wetjen available? Wide receiver thoughts are maybe Mims is tradable, and you get a wide receiver and kick returner, punt returner, and return. And then Michael, we hit on this beginning of the show. Dexter Lawrence traded the Cincinnati Bengals. But yeah, Kenny, I think Wetjen, he's right there off my Iowa, 5'9", 193. He is still available. You can find kick return and punt returners. That's I don't think you necessarily need to draft that. I mean, I'm trying to draft developmental. I know he's developmental, but I'm just saying, you can find those guys even undrafted. I mean, and Mims is probably gonna be on this team, I would say, even though I would shop him around at the very least. But I still think there's players on the board that are intriguing. Like we still haven't solved tight end quite yet. I still want to get somebody in that tight end room. There's a corner. Like we don't know if Jaquan McMillan or Riley Moss is out the door. I've heard a lot of Riley Moss out the door lately, so we don't know. But yeah.
What's interior O line look like?
Probably bad. But let me take a look here real quick. DJ Campbell, Micah Norris, Evan Bernstein, Alan Heron, Jaden Roberts, James Brockenmeyer out of Miami, Joshua Braun out of Kentucky. I'm sorry.
And this is our second 7th round pick.
We have picks left. We have 246, 256, 257.
What's that corner, Keith? Anything left at corner still? I know it's going to be thin, but I like Jalen Husky here, if I'm being honest.
190th ranked overall. Lorenzo Styles, we were just talking about him.
Mm-hmm. Is there a little bit just because of he's a like if Lorenzo Styles Jr. name wasn't like Styles in there? Is there a like I don't know? I just kind of think he's getting a lot of hype, and he's like I'm not saying he's a bad player at all, but I'm just saying like I think he goes more undrafted. I think the name is what people lock eyes on a lot in this draft, and again like the player, but I think you can probably get him undrafted.
Adam Randall, Le'Veon.
What do you think about double dipping at running back?
I mean, but with them bringing back McLaughlin and Bede, I mean, what?
I mean, and I don't really care about that. I mean, they paid him such little amounts, put him on practice squad.
I don't know. I think it's I would try to at least look into corners. That's where I would try to dip, just because you're probably not having McMillan or Riley Moss on this roster.
Ladder Barton's still on there. I mean, I watched a little on him. He's intriguing. That's a later round pick. But then you're double dipping at middle linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his brother was here a couple of years ago. I mean, they play a lot alike.
Boy, you guys aren't making it easy for me. We have 3 of these 7th round picks.
My vote's Husky, the corner. That's where I'd go.
I'm fine with that because at this point, if you don't address tight end, so be it. Go get David Njoku's still out there. You can go get him.
Yeah, I think if you're addressing anything like tight end here, I mean, you got to be really happy about what he can do on special teams too at the same time. That's the downside. So we'll come up on a couple of back-to-back end of the draft picks here, see who Mr. Irrelevant could possibly be. I think we're here.
I might look at D-line, maybe.
Defensive line. I'm always thinking about, at this point, usually I'm thinking about the corners, the safeties, the wide receivers, stuff like that can come in and be a special teamer. Linebackers. Jordan Van Denberg, Georgia Tech, Cameron Ball, Bryson Eason.
There's Kenny's boy, UR Bernard.
UR Bernard, he is in here. Holy cow.
I like also, if I'm throwing my 2 cents, I like Dallin Bentley too, the tight end from Utah.
In
the 7th. I mean, I know it's another
tight end room, so
it's another Utah
round. Yeah, another 7th round tight end. I get him.
Another Utah tight end too.
Promise, it's not on purpose. I mean, you got back-to-back 7th round picks, so it's
yeah. You get to choose the last 2 in this overall draft.
You know, the more I think about it, I might double dip at running back and let them battle it out for that 3rd position.
Adam Randall, then.
And I would be okay with that. I mean, his size and stuff.
Yeah. He slipped this far, honestly.
Someone else, I don't know if he went off the board yet, but someone did say Le'Veon Moss, which I think is intriguing from A&M.
Yeah, he's right. He's right here as well. So you got your choice.
I just like Adam Randall's size. Denver
6'3",
doesn't have a
232.
big running back really in the room. Even RJ Harvey, I mean, he's barely over 200.
Oh yeah, no, agreed. Well, what do
Yeah,
you
but
think, Trevor?
I'm good with either Randall or Moss.
yeah, I like. For me, it's like if you're gonna take running back, Randall's fine, but then the next pick I take Dallin Bentley. I think he's just sitting right there on the board. I think you may not get him as an undrafted free agent. That's something to keep in mind too with these 7th-round picks. You got to consider, okay, which players am I going to be able to get onto the team and sign? Because and George Payton talked about this a little bit too. Like if I can save my 7th-round pick, and maybe he's not a 7th-round pick, but he's a UDFA likely. I'm still going to take that guy. They did it with Jonathan Cooper when Jonathan Cooper was drafted in 2021. They took Cooper anyway in the 7th round, even though he's going to go undrafted because they knew they weren't going to probably be able to get him. So something to consider when taking some of these 7th-round picks.
All right, we'll go back to back, top of the board picks. Then I'll go ahead and I'll take Adam Randall.
Okay,
and then Dallin Bentley, and we'll go ahead and we'll get our hopefully, I guess, a grade or something. I don't know what just happened there.
should show big board.
Hopefully. That's pretty wild.
It just went black, huh? Oh, it's coming up. Slow it. There you go.
No, it just erased it all. So there you go, gentlemen. Okay. I'll just go ahead and I'll pop right back over here. Hopefully you remember all our draft picks, gentlemen. So go ahead and remove that out real quick. Thanks for the exercise, man. That was I think that's certainly a possibility. I think if like as that started off, Jacob Rodriguez kind of falling down the board a little bit, taking that opportunity to move up. You're not moving up a ton. It was well within the range of what George Payton, Sean Payton were talking about. I like that move. Trevor, talk a little bit. You wanted to really, if we had the opportunity, maybe take that opportunity with 2 4th-round picks and maneuver there, though, too.
Yeah, I mean that's just when you're trying to trade up in the 2nd round, it's something to think about. Like, okay, we're going to trade up in the 2nd round and get our player. That's great and all, but now you lose the flexibility of possibly trading up into the 3rd round. And we've seen the talent drop off in this exercise and simulator. You've seen the talent drop off after the 4th round. And really after the 2nd round, you've seen a drop off. So it's something like for Denver, I actually like them possibly trading back because you can get at least maybe 2 players within the top 100 that will give you some real value. I mean, there's some real value on day 2. And so if you can add more day 2 picks, I think that's where the drafts are won. So like I think that could definitely be in Denver's favor if like Jacob Rodriguez wasn't there on the board. I'll be honest, fellas, and Posse, I would have traded back. I would have got more draft capital and really where you would have seen us probably have more flexibility to maneuver in the draft, but also be able to have multiple picks to address multiple positions.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, man.
My only thing I would have done different is for like 3 more to move up 3 more spots. You could have wore Anthony Hill Jr. when I would have moved up and made that trade right there. He's probably solid my number 2 linebacker now.
Right on. Love it, man. It'll be interesting, man. I think there's a good possibility. I think this is going to be a lot more wild than most people are anticipating. I know that people are saying that the draft could see a lot of trades. I'm fully expecting that. The more I look at this, and it's not going to be major trades. I'm not expecting someone like Denver from 62 into the 1st round, but just those 4 spots here, 6 spots there, 5 spots further back, 2 spots further forward, things like that. I think we could get pretty active in this draft if teams are just trying to maneuver just right to get the guy that they feel is right. We talked about it as we were kind of going through this mock draft. Definitely tiers of guys where it's like, man, if you missed out here, it's a different tier of guy once you leave that grouping, and move on to that second grouping. And sometimes, like we were talking about tight end, they're going to be one or the other. You're going to find that blocking or that receiving tight end. Great draft. great mock draft, gentlemen. Appreciate going through the exercise. We went overtime. That's another thing. I don't get to see the clock. So now I see we're pouring into almost an hour and a half.
And I'll add this too. Just remember, this draft is not highly touted for one depth or elite players. So just remember that as you get lower in these lower rounds, there's from the positions I've done, there's not a lot of really dark horse guys that are out there to go get in the 7th round or whatever. It's a overall. I mean, there are some studs in this class, Love and a few other guys, but this is a weak draft class overall, in my opinion. So, keep that in mind that you're not going to find a Jonathan Cooper in the 7th round this year, probably.
Heck, I might not even get Jody to be able to show up for the last day of the draft for that. I'm just kidding. All right, gentlemen, some final comments before we get out of here. Trevor, why don't you knock us through a couple upcoming shows that we might have coming up as well, man, as you get some final thoughts and some goodbyes in.
Yeah, great mock draft scenario. I think this is why we do these mock drafts, is to run through our fans and everybody in our POSSE, mock drafters, our choosers, all different scenarios that can happen for the Broncos and also for all 32 teams. So Kenny and I will be back, and we're going to try to do a 4-horseman mock draft tomorrow night. It's not been confirmed yet, but Kenny and I will be back tomorrow night for a pick is in final mock draft show. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We are back for the Juice Tuesday, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Going to be a fun and action-packed show already. Kenny and I are already getting our agenda already prepared. May have a mail baggage at some point in time this week because we want to try to fit everything from draft questions and stuff like that in. So hey, if you like, share, and subscribe, I won't have to tell you. You just know when we're live. See that snuck that in there. So there's that. And then Keith and Jody are right back on with you on Wednesday for Denver Bronco Roundup, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, it is there. We are there Thursday night. Pick is in draft show 2026 version. We'll all be with you. All 4 of us will be with you night 1, day 2, and day 3.
Love it, man. Love it, man. We will be there, says TW. Jody's here for a final goodbye before we get out of here. Jody, what do you got for me?
Just excited to see what kind of rumors come out this week. See if any other big trades happen. See if something comes out. Something always does, from the Blarmy Tunsil masks incident to when there's enough you can just guys that are going to be top picks that kind of fall because of stuff that comes out late. Be interested to see that, and then interested to see how this board plays out. Does Love fall a little bit? Then what team is willing to go up there and get him? Is there a player that does fall that's projected, top 10? So I'm excited for all those, and then excited to see what first day probably you won't see. I would almost guarantee you won't see Denver pick, but day 2, I excited for that. See what Denver does there. See maybe 1 or 2 of the 7 guys Payton said that they are targeting in that area. So
it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting, man. Can't wait, man. Can't wait. Don't forget about the upcoming shows. The pick is in mock draft show, the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast that we'll have just the night before the draft, and then again 3 continuous nights of draft coverage. We're going to have some amazing giveaways as well, maybe some guests in and out. We're going to have a fantastic time. As Michael said, be there or be square. But for now, we do got to get running. Thanks for popping in. Talked a lot about Sean Payton, George Payton, what they were talking about in the draft presser, the top 30 visits that have come in and out, and of course, the mock draft that we didn't do the recap on because, well, mock draft hero kind of failed me at the end.
And we can put those. We'll get those results, and we can put them in the comments as well for everybody. So
there you go.
Make sure to keep an eye out for that, and please, when we do so, grade us and be harsh. Don't be afraid to. We all take criticism very well. So be honest with your grade. But yeah, we'll put it in the, make sure to put it in the chat for everybody too.
I'm going to give myself an early grade of B-. I'm just going to say I wasn't like over the top about that particular draft, but hey, hopefully the Denver Broncos will be coming home with an A+. We'll be coming back at you soon enough. We're going to get out of here the way we always do, with our boots on the stirrups, guns in the holsters, and of course the Denver Broncos in your heart. Until next episode, we're going to get out of here. Thanks everybody. Mile high salute. Till next episode. Thank you.